Welcome to Easter Sunday at the Lake. I'm Reverend Greg Dorst, and what a pleasure it is to have you here. What a pleasure it is to be here. So as you can see, we are on the edge of the lake. Jackie and I live here, and this is it's such a beautiful day to be out here, even though it's cloudy and cold. We're having a blast. I've got this hat on here because over the course of this quarantine period where we've sheltered in place, my hair's gotten pretty doggone long, and as I'm standing out here, my hair is blowing up over the back of my head, and I thought, what a bad look. So I decided to put my little safari hat on so that we could kind of be on safari while we're out here next to the lake. So I also want to explain what it is that we're doing, because I think it's really important to understand that I have this thing for simplicity, especially now. I think that I enjoy simple stories that are told simplistically, and I think that what I'd like to do today is tell a story simplistically. Out here in an environment where there isn't a whole team, there isn't a musician that is playing for me. There isn't a technical staff that's here to support me. There is no church and crucifix behind me. There is nothing but nature and me and this Facebook Live camera. And I really like that idea of simplicity. And I think that in today's day and age, right now, we can find ways to do things simplistically and really enjoy the process. I mean, we might as well enjoy the process. I mean, we can tell the story that we do in a way where it just seems like the thing to do. So I decided that what I was going to do today was call this talk What We've Learned. And it actually comes from a couple of things I've been thinking about regarding what it is we've been doing over the last month or so, because things have really changed, and it used to be, I think, that a lot of people would say, I have these values, and the values that I have are my values, and I learned these values when I was a child, and I practiced them in school, and I hung around with people who had the same values, and I honed them as I grew older. But my values are my values. But it seems that today we're in a situation where we may have learned some new values. And I'm here to talk about some of the things that I have learned, which are relatively new, because I haven't been in touch with these values for a long time, or maybe not even at all. At least I recognize them more today than I ever have before. So you may have noticed that there's a little less attention paid to materialism nowadays. That we're interested in having food, and that's great, but we're not out shopping for new things, and we're not testing out those new credit cards, and we're not demanding to have the newest and best model of this or that. And I'm really excited about that idea, because what it does is turn our attention from those material things to things that really matter, those interior things that really matter. I mean, you might have missed the touch of a child or a grandchild or somebody that you can't be with. You might have missed those moments where you are together with those people in your community and have been able to give them a hug or hold on to them. You might have missed, the job that you may not have even enjoyed. You might miss that, and you might miss your coworkers that you were never excited to see. You might miss being able to freely walk out into society and go where you want to go and not have to wear a mask. You might miss those kinds of things, and you wouldn't be alone, but you're taking a look at the things now that maybe you didn't pay much attention to before. Maybe they didn't hold that power that they do today. Maybe they weren't valued as much by you or me than they are today. So I've got some pretty simplistic values today that have been brought on by this newness, this different way of being, at least for the last month. And practically speaking, we'll probably be doing this for a while. So I'm telling a new story. I'm learning new things. I'm developing new values, and I'm excited about it. So, today is Easter, and I want to talk about that some too, and I'm going to weave the ideas and principles of Easter into what it is I'm saying. But I've had the opportunity to, because I'm doing this in the evening, to see a couple of Easter talks already. In fact, I've actually watched about 6 of them and heard a couple more, and every person that I've listened to has a different idea of what it is that's happening on Easter, and I like that too. I get to hear different versions, different stories, different ways of understanding those stories, and it's been pretty cool. I listened to Reverend John Scott in Kingston, Jamaica, which is a long way to go for a service, and he calls his talk or his sermon, he calls it an encouragement. He says, today's encouragement is about, and then goes on to tell you what it's about. And Reverend John Scott has this take, it's a Jamaican take on things that is just absolutely tremendous. Not only the accent behind it, but he's got this beautiful take on this Easter story, and I really appreciate that. I've seen the Easter story from the Global Truth Center. A friend of mine, Reverend James Mellon, was talking today, and he asked a question that really intrigued me. And that question kind of is going to be central to some of the things I want to talk about. The question is, how are you going to tell this story that we're living today in the future? I mean, when you get around to telling it to somebody that you really care about, how are you going to tell it? What take are you going to give to it? What spin are you going to put on it? What truth with a small t are you going to give it? I know you'll give it your truth, but what's that going to be? Because, this could be told in a whole multitude of different ways. It could be told in the way that you're stuck in your house and you're suffering and you can't see anybody and you're lonely and things are terrible and you just want to get back to normal, that you're losing your life savings and the stock market's going down and you just can't seem to handle this anymore. Enough is enough. You can tell that story. Or you could tell this story, that it is an opportunity for us to spend time with ourselves and to get to know who we are and to start developing some ideas about what may really truly be important about life. Is this a time to get closer with spirit, with the divine? Is this a time to understand how you're feeling deep inside you, or is it a time to complain about the circumstances around you? I mean, both those stories are true. Both those stories could be true. But which one are you going to tell? And I just love that idea. Which one are you going to tell? You can listen to the Easter story from a whole lot of different Christian perspectives and hear a completely different story every time you hear it. From somebody killed my Savior to this is an amazing time where we're to be focused on not only renewal but newness, something that's brand new in our lives. This Easter story brings about some real interesting ideas as to how we are to view life as humans, how we are to move forward and live this human condition. And I just love dealing with that. I love the stories around that and how those kinds of things work. And so that question, what story are you going to tell, is a really interesting question. So I started thinking about what I've learned about what it is that this experience has brought to all of us, if you want to look at it this way. And I started thinking about how we truly, from a deep level, are pulling together in ways we haven't pulled together before. I live in a community here on this lake where people are pulling together. I mean, there's a woman down the street making masks for everybody. Everybody's sharing the fruit off of their trees. People are working together to make sure that we're all safe and that there's nothing going on in the house next door or down the street that we need to know about and move forward together to help with. And this story of being kind is absolutely a central story in the way I intend to tell this, how this brought us together in ways that we haven't been brought together before. You know, I am so excited by the fact that we have some new heroes who are walking the corridors of hospitals. You know, we have people who are standing, watching these magnificent medical personnel come into their job, and they're clapping and cheering for them as they move into that arena, that place where they're putting their lives at risk. And there's an appreciation for that. And if there's anything we could do to help, we would step right in front of them and clear the way. You know, what we would do if we had them is drop palm fronds in front of them. You know that story, the Palm Sunday story, where people were dropping palm fronds in front of Jesus while he was on the donkey? I mean, people would drop palm fronds in front of these people who are absolutely going into this difficult time with courage, with the most amazing bravery, with kindness in their hearts, not blaming anybody, but wanting to come forward and help in every possible way they can. And I love that story of kindness, and I love that story of giving, you know, giving to others. It's a beautiful story to tell, and it's happening right in front of us right now. I mean, yes, we might be watching that unfold from a distance, but it's unfolding, and it's right in front of us. And to me, the feelings are palpable. I can feel it in my heart, and I know you can too. And so I tell that story of kindness and inject that story of compassion as well, because we have learned to feel what other people are feeling during this process. You know, if you cannot see a loved one who might pass away in the hospital, you cannot even go to visit them. You have to look at them through glass if you can see them. And many people know that once a loved one has been taken to the hospital, they'll never see them again. I mean, compassion, straight from the heart. I understand and feel what it is that these people are going through. I mean, this is a story to be told. This story is the same sort of compassion that we have for anyone who might face the suffering, the kind of suffering that Jesus did on the cross, the kind of suffering that many people face today. I mean, it's important to understand and know that, especially at Easter time, and to be able to tell that story in a rich and interesting way. I mean, these are the things that I have learned. I have learned that we live in a society where people care for each other. They really do. We live in a place where ordinary people are doing extraordinary things. We live in a place where every single one of us gets to do our part. What we get to do is help people not to be placed in danger. What we get to do is have the faithfulness that this is going to work, that what we're doing for others is going to work, that we're staying in our houses because we have compassion for others and because we're acting out of kindness. And we're doing that with a faithfulness that is deserving of an Easter message. And so I heard this message today. This was a little story that was told. It's about a 4-year-old girl who received from her grandfather a little cup of dirt on her birthday. I mean, all it was a cup with some dirt on it. And when he handed her that cup of dirt, she kind of looked at him like he was crazy. You know, she wasn't too excited about this as a gift. It didn't seem to be the kind of a gift that a person should get on their birthday, a cup of dirt. And so she said, what is this? And he said, follow me. And they went into the kitchen, and he got this little teapot, and he filled it up with water at the sink. And he said, here, in this teapot is water. And what you must do every single day is to pour some water into this cup. You've got to do it every day. You have to be vigilant. You have to make sure that's done. Can you do that? She said, yes, I can. I can do that. And so the first day was easy. I mean, she went to that cup and she poured it in it as if she was expecting something to happen, and nothing happened. And the second day and the third day and the fourth and the fifth, and nothing happened, and she got tired of it. It got really tough for her. She couldn't seem to do it. In fact, it was so difficult for her that she went back to her grandfather and said, Grandfather, you have to do this. I can't do it. And he said, no. You can do this. You must be faithful. You must be faithful and do this every single day. And over the course of a period of time, what happened was green sprouted from that dirt in the cup. These two little sprigs started to sprout. And she was so excited, and she ran to her grandpa and said, is this how we create things and make things happen? And he said, what do you mean? She said, pour water on it. And he said, well, the water's part of it in this case, but what really makes things happen is the faithfulness that you were willing to do it every day. And so what we have is people that are willing to do something every day. We, ordinary people, are being faithful every moment by doing the things that we're supposed to do. I mean, we can't see this virus. We don't see it floating through the air. We don't even know who's got it. But we do know that we can do something to help other people. We can have faith that this will work, that what we're doing is a godly, divine act. And so what we do is we follow the directives of the people who know. And we put masks on, and we socially distance. And we make sure that we don't jump into this and display the lack of faith that we've already seen from people who have said, well, I'm not going to do this anymore. I'm not going to stay home. But wait. We know that this is helping our society. It's the kind thing to do. It's the compassionate thing to do. It's the right thing to do. No, I'm not doing it anymore. I don't see any of this stuff happening. I'm not doing it. That's the story of the faithless. That's the story of the person that has no faithfulness. That's the story of the little girl when she was about ready to give that cup with the dirt in it back to her grandfather. He encouraged her, just do this, just do this, just do this. And so that's what we do. You know, we build it and it will happen. You know, I love that movie, Field of Dreams. You know, if you build it, they will come. It's the same thing, the faithfulness, the moving forward, the doing what it is that you're supposed to do. It makes things happen that you couldn't possibly imagine. And so that's the story I like to tell. The story I like to tell is a story of a society that at this time is kind, compassionate, and has absolute faith in one another. Has absolute faith in a process that works when you have this idea that this story is true. You know, not everybody agrees on the same story. You know, some people don't find any wisdom in the Jesus story at all. Some people don't want to hear that. Some people don't want to hear the resurrection story, the crucifixion story. Nobody wants to hear it. Some people don't want to hear it. They don't resonate with it, but that's okay because the divine meets you right where you are. But if you can find a story that you say yes to, that you can say, yes, the divine is in that. I know that. When you resonate with that story, when your heart sinks into it, when you recognize that kindness, compassion, and faithfulness are the truth, then the divine is right there in it. And so whatever story you want to tell, I hope it's one that will absolutely resonate with other people and help them to see things that they might not have seen. Because when you tell this tale, or when you listen to it, you'll be able to see what side of this, story you might have fallen on. You know, the side that has nothing good to say about it, or the side that says, what an opportunity. What a moment to be the best we can possibly be, to step into this with the kindness, compassion, and faithfulness that's necessary in order to live life beautifully. So I got to tell you, it is cold out here. It is cold, you probably can tell, and the wind is blowing hard, but that's okay. We've had a great old time. You might have heard in the background too, our goose. We have Grandpa the Goose. We named him Grandpa not because he has gray hair or gray feathers. He has white feathers, and he kind of shepherds these little goslings as they're born around this lake, and you can hear him in the background. So Grandpa is real excited about the fact we're doing this service here tonight, and I'm real excited to have been able to spend some time with you. So once again, I really want to emphasize that today, and probably each day that this newness is occurring, I'll be savoring the simplicity of life. That simple function of just doing what's in front of you, just taking what you've got and making the most out of it. You know, this is really a time. This is the time. And this is what I've learned, and I hope it's what we've learned. So why don't you join me in prayer? Because I'm going to step into a spiritual mind treatment, which I hope you'll join me in. And what a spiritual mind treatment is affirmative prayer. And what we do is essentially know that life is unfolding as we feel it, as we describe it, and as we know it to be. And so I'm going to do that for us now. And the first thing I'm going to do is reflect on the biggest truth, which is that God is present right here and right now. God is present right here and right now in this very space. So operating in, around, and through the cool air, operating in, around, and through this lake that's building waves through the wind that's blowing, even the siren in the background, the sound of the goose in the background is life operating right here and right now. And we're experiencing that. And that life that I talk about is with a capital L, which I think is synonymous with God. For this life is our life now, but it is God's life in its totality. We get to live it. We get to express this divine magnificence called spirit in everything that we do. And we might as well make it a great expression. We might as well make it based upon values that truly resonate with good. And so I know that God is present right here and right now, in, around, and through each of us as us. And we are in no way separated from that. We cannot be separated from that. You know, as the story goes, Jesus left this earth and went to be rejoined with God. I see that story as an interesting story, but I find a depth in the story that says that Jesus has never left. The consciousness of Jesus has always been here, lives in my heart, lives in yours, lives in everything that we see. For the Christ consciousness really is just that sonship, that daughtership that resides in us. The sonship, the daughtership, which is that the sons of the divine. For we are made out of divine stuff. And I know that the things that we learn stay with us if we allow them to. The good things that come into our lives stay with us if we meditate on those things just for a few seconds so that they can stick to our consciousness. I know that we do that as we move through life in these very interesting times. I know that each and every one of you out there is blessed and safe, that each and every one of you does what is necessary in order to maintain that status, that wonderful health status. Know that you're part of a community that really, really matters. Now, I know that some of you are here today, and I want to recognize you. So Laura Lampus, it's so good to be able to talk to you. I'm glad you're here. And Monica and Kelly and Wendy and Martha and John and Elaine and Mary Eckler. I would love to have you playing the 88s right here in front of the lake, but alas, it can't be done. Annabelle and Joe, Jill, Marion, Life, and Duarte. Daisy, it's so good to see you or hear you or wherever you are. Mary, Cindy, Virginia, Big E, Charlie, Agnes, Roxanne, Carol, Harold. Oh, there's even a second page, and if I missed you, I didn't mean anything by it. By the way, I do miss you guys. I miss all of you. So with that, let's go out and have a magnificent rest of this Easter time, okay? I love you. Namaste.